Hi, my name is Vicky. Today I'll be speaking to you about multiple sclerosis and the decision to ignore the fact that you were just diagnosed with multiple sclerosis or that you were diagnosed with multiple sclerosis years ago and just go cold turkey and not do anything about it, not even natural remedies or conventional medication, any of that. Just live normal like you were never diagnosed in the past. I feel it's a very important topic because there are people like myself that at one point do think of that, because multiple sclerosis can be very overwhelming and very aggravating, very stressful to deal with. And honestly, you have to deal with it for the rest of your life, as you're told for now. For now, there's no cure, so you have to deal with it for the rest of your life. Before we get into that, I do want to let you know that there will be more videos coming regarding multiple sclerosis and solutions to multiple sclerosis that I found along the way. After having 14 years of experience with multiple sclerosis, it isn't fun. It isn't a good thing, but I would like to share this information so that I can maybe prevent some bad decisions for other people, that can prevent them from maybe not having that exacerbation or that relapse that really affects them. So with that being said, please stay tuned. Hit the notification bell and the subscribe button if you wish. And I thank you for watching. Also want to let you know very quickly, there will be a collaboration, which is a video between me and other people with multiple sclerosis. Now the first collaboration is going to be with D Mogul. He is also on YouTube, and this is his channel. If you can, please go ahead and look him up, show him some love. He was just diagnosed 3 months ago, so I love talking to people that have multiple sclerosis. I met him on YouTube, so we will let you know how we met and how we started communicating with one another on our first video, which will also be our first time meeting each other, whether that be via Skype or however we're going to meet each other. You will see that. So that is coming. Stay tuned. Okay, now getting into the subject of ignoring multiple sclerosis or not ignoring multiple sclerosis. Now, when you have multiple sclerosis, it changes your entire life. You will can go through depression, through denial, through all sorts of emotions. All those emotions, then you will have to choose whether you're going to do something about it, you're going to follow what the doctor says, you're not going to follow what the doctor says. In my case, I was terrified and I didn't know what to do. So when the doctor says you have multiple sclerosis, we're not sure, the MRI is coming back, we'll check that, we'll make sure and confirm that, but from what I'm seeing and hearing, you may have multiple sclerosis. And a nurse is going to your mom's house, and they're going to inject you with steroids, and it's going to take about an hour. You're going to have 2 weeks of that, and then you're going to come back in 1 week, see how you're doing. So I do that. I go back in 1 week, and here I am, clueless, terrified, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I go back to the consultation in a week. I tell him I'm doing a little better. My eyesight's coming back. So it's going good. And he says, okay, take these stack of pamphlets and these videos that I'm going to give you, watch them. And when you come back, let me know which one you chose. And let me know if you need anything. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to be self-sufficient, watch all the videos. I don't read anything because my nerves are going crazy. I don't have time to read at the time. So I'm thinking I'm just going to watch the videos. So to my surprise, they all seem like infomercials. They are all great. These medications are all awesome, sound awesome. So I choose the one with the smallest needle. Go figure. And so I tell him, hey, I'm just going to choose this one. Beta Seron was the name of it. It sounded the best because it was the smallest needle. So I started on beta seron. I was trying to keep up with the injections, but for someone who never took medication in their life consistently or any of that, I was never sick, nothing. It was hard for me to keep up with the injections every other day, I believe it was. And so every 2 months and to 2 months and a half, I was having a relapse. I was going back to my doctor, and or every 2.5, 3 months. I'm not sure. It's 14 years ago. Sorry, but it was very, very consistent. My relapses were, and so I was thinking, of what am I gonna do? So the doctor's like, just keep taking your medication, and then once the um 8 months passed, and I was still having relapses very frequently, and they kept on coming. Then he says, well, you know what, you're probably gonna have to change medications, but none of these injectables will probably work for you because your body has probably gotten used to it now. So he was trying to dumb it down for me, right? So um so then my body got used to it, and I didn't know what else to do. He says the only other thing you can do is Tysabri, but it's your choice. But that's the only other medication that you can probably work for you. So I said, okay. So I did happen to come across an article about Tysabri within that time, because there was two fatalities. Two people died. And I was like, okay. So then I didn't want to do that. Then PML came along with the Tysabri, because I don't know, that Tysabri just gives an infection of PML if you've had the JC virus before. So that is a common side effect of Tysabri. I was terrified at 20 years old. I did not want a brain infection, and so I didn't want to die for sure. I didn't know what was going to happen. The time that I was deciding that he wanted me to call him back to tell him whether I was going to take Tysabri or not, I found out I was pregnant. It was not planned at all, but I was pregnant. So now I called him and told him, hey, I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. I didn't know he was going to tell me to stop taking all the medication that I was taking, because, well, it wasn't much. It was just Tysabri, and in the midst of my relapses, it was steroids that I was taking. So then he said, we're going to take you off of all medication, and you're not going to take anything. Throughout your pregnancy, you should be fine. But he didn't go into detail as to why you should be fine. And I will do a video on MS and pregnancy, because I think it's kind of cool how the pregnancy shields your body. So we'll go more into detail on that on the next video, or on the pregnancy video. But I decided to go ahead and try to not have to take any medication, because he did also mention to me that it will harm my baby if he had to place me on any steroids or any medication. It is harmful for the baby. So I just thought to myself, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but okay, I'm going to try. So I tried to steer away from all medication, when the only other side effect that I felt, other than regular pregnancy symptoms, which are like, sometimes some people experience fatigue, tiredness, having to urinate a lot, when you're pregnant. And the only thing that I felt out of the ordinary is weakness in my legs and tingling. So I was terrified, but I was trying not to take any conventional medication. So I actually did my research on this, and I consulted a therapist, a physical therapist actually, who had treated multiple sclerosis patients, because I called and specifically asked. So then he says, come in. I go in, and he just gives me a bunch of exercises to do for my legs. I do those. I get through my pregnancy, thankfully, with no medication, which I'm so glad for that. However, after that, my bright idea was that, oh, well, I'm healed. I am okay. I don't need to take any medication at all. So go figure. I have him in March. Around May, I want to say, I have the worst relapse of my life. I was partially paralyzed in both arms, but mostly my right arm that time. And I could not hold my baby because I didn't have the strength to hold my baby. So I was so beyond terrified at this point. I was devastated. I was kind of upset with myself because I thought I was so smart that I wasn't going to get on my medication anymore. I wasn't going to take my medication. I was going to be fine. So then I tell myself this isn't going to happen anymore. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to do something different than what I did, because in the past, I had shut down. I was just like, I'm just going to do what the doctor says. The doctor never mentioned change the way you eat, the way you exercise, keep your mind active. None of that, because none of that was irrelevant, I guess, to the multiple sclerosis in that time. So, and there are some doctors nowadays that do not even mention changing the way you eat, the way you exercise, what you drink, what you consume can really affect your body. Honestly, that is true whether you have MS or not. But I was going through the worst of my time. Okay, sorry. My grandma thankfully was there, would stay in my apartment to help me feed my baby and cook and clean and everything else. I don't know where I would be without her. So I don't know where I would be without my grandma, because she was going through some illnesses of her own at the time, but still found the strength to help me. And I'm sorry, I don't talk about this much, but point is, that was the worst mistake in my life. I never should have thought, don't do anything and go back to what you were doing nothing because you didn't have multiple sclerosis before. So with that being said, I was at my lowest point in my life, and I want to tell you that if whatever approach you want to take on multiple sclerosis, that's fine. Take an approach to multiple sclerosis, whatever that is, whether that be conventional medication, whether that be natural medication, no conventional medication, or both. I actually take conventional medication and also do mostly everything else natural. So even though you choose to ignore MS isn't ignoring you most of the time. There are some cases, there are rare cases where multiple sclerosis is dormant for most people. Again, everyone is different. So again, find what works for you, and I wish you the best in this new life, because multiple sclerosis did make me see and perceive life differently. So whatever you choose, it's up to you. Ultimately, it's your decision, no matter what the doctors tell you, no matter what friends tell you, research, me, anyone else. It doesn't matter what anyone tells you. Ultimately, it's going to be your decision. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments on that, please comment in the comments below. I love to hear those comments. I really, really do. And I like to help others. So with that being said, please stay tuned. There are more videos coming, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.